now enjoy the program. Thank you for being part of the Cigar Club fam.
What's up, Cigar Club family? Welcome back to another episode of the Cigar Club podcast. I'm Pugh, and along with me, as always, is none other than Griff Howie. Thank you all so much for tuning in and listening every week, as well as leaving your thoughts and feedback below on each episode. We love reading them, especially Griff. We may even have a special segment if you're kind enough for them. But if this is your first time tuning in, thank you as well. The Cigar Club podcast is where we talk about all things cigars with you, the Cigar Club family, every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern. On today's episode, we're going to be reacting to the new FDA's new proposal on potentially regulating cigars and what it means for us as cigar smokers. But before we get into that, Griff, how you doing? What are you smoking? We drinking anything?
Not drinking anything, Pew. Top of the afternoon to you. I don't know if you can see it from here, but I'm smoking the new cigar by the one and only Vlad Stojanov. That is called the Sommelier. Wow, that was a rough one.
It was.
Sommelier Som Selecciones, which I'm really excited about. He sent us a box the other day, and I've been wanting to light it up, but it's a San Andreas Maduro wrapper, aged 3 years. Binder is Viso Jalapa, that's been aged for 3 years. Filler is Broadleaf, which I'm super excited about, aged for 2 years. Along with San Andreas for 3 years, and Viso Jalapa for 3 years. So this thing's like a damn museum, and I'm really, really excited to smoke this. I wanted to smoke it on a clean palate, so I did not have anything today. Yeah. First cigar. Footnote's amazing. What are you smoking?
You know, oddly enough, we didn't plan this, but I grabbed the exact same cigar.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. Took my... I was going to give the rundown of the tobacco, and you already did it. Yeah, first cigar of the day for me. First cigar since I've had since Saturday night. Been super excited. We talked to Vlad. God, I guess it was at the Casa 1910 experience when he told us about this cigar, and we've been super excited to get our hands on it. So happy to see it finally released. And right off the bat, toothy ash.
Oh, it's so good.
I mean, this wrapper's toothy as hell as well. Really, really good. Dark chocolate, really good. A little like raisin in there as well. You're going to send him that picture, aren't you?
Yep. But not right now because we're doing a podcast.
That would be a little rude, but it's okay.
God, the aroma is just incredible.
Yeah, this is already off to a fantastic start. And I've been smoking a lot of darker wrappers lately. I don't know if you've noticed that trend, but I've been on a little of a medium plus kick lately. So excited to see where this ends up at.
I've been on a medium plus, strictly one and only cigar, the new HVC Selection No. 1 Habano Inciales Corona Gorda size. Every day.
Lero Rojo's up there too, but I don't think you've been smoking Lero every day.
I could, but this is I don't want to say it's the new, the new toy, but
sure.
That's that new HVC Habano that Lorenzo blended at the new factory.
I'm excited everything. I want to smoke that one.
I mean,
it's so crazy.
Is amazing.
Do you like it better than the Maduro?
I need to do. They're different. They're different. I do need to do a side by side. I honestly think I might like the Habano more. I think the Habano is just more approachable every day.
Yeah.
Morning, noon, night. Maduro.
Second cigar, first cigar, whatever.
Yeah, Maduro maybe not so much, but I really need to do a side-by-side comparison because...
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
That natural is incredible.
Yeah, when they announced that, I was like, oh, that's probably more up my alley than it is yours. And you grabbed yourself a box like sight unseen. You just said, no, I'm getting a box. And
I knew it was going to be a daily guy.
You did. You called it.
A daily driver.
You literally, when you got that boxes, you were like, you texted me or messaged me. You were like, yeah, I think this could be a daily cigar. And I think since you've gotten that box, it has been almost a daily.
Every day but today. And it's been 4 or 5 in a row. So I guess I'm breaking the streak today. But that's, yeah.
There's still time.
I had
you
super
may have
high
a
expectations.
Cigar.
And when I lit into it, I'm like, oh, yeah, this is going to be it. Right off the truck.
You did, too.
Man, killer cigar.
Dude,
But
is your
really excited
ash-
to smoke this cigar and see how it performs.
This might be one of the toothiest ashes
White
I've ever
and
had.
beautiful construction.
Yeah.
Not squishy whatsoever. I'm excited about this. Coming from KBF, right?
Yes.
I'm pretty
Yes.
positive.
Yes.
He's done a lot of podcasts and stuff about this cigar, and you would think, just given the contents inside, you would think it's going to be a powerhouse. From what he's saying, it's not.
Yeah, that's
from
what I'm
I've
curious to see
heard,
how
it's
this comes
not.
out.
So we'll see.
Yeah, right off the bat. I mean, right now, just straight medium, and I kind of want it to stay there. I don't necessarily want this to go up into that medium plus, because just the flavors right now are so wonderful that I don't want it to, go too far in one direction.
Yeah.
But before we jump into this new
Man, that's
potential FDA proposal, if you haven't heard already, we have launched the Cigar Club Vault. It's going to be a collection of some of our previous custom releases, as well as some hidden gems that we've shipped out previously as well. Quantities are limited, and once they're gone, they are gone. We won't be bringing back any of those previous custom releases. So head on over to the Vault and check that out. And then we've also got a podcast code just for y'all to get 20% off select retail items. So use code PODCAST at checkout for some of those items to get a little discount. But you brought up this article to us. I wasn't aware of it. I hadn't seen it until you dropped it to us. But you were talking to Ostos, weren't you, about this?
Yeah, and I haven't done a full thing because the second he advised us to do a podcast on it, I kind of stopped. So I really don't know the cadence of this. But I saw a couple things in there, and I was giving him shit about having to potentially do that down the road. But I've not read the full article or all the bulleted points. So
Yeah.
it's all a pretty new article to me. But it was a new article to me when he told me. He's like, "Did you see the article for the FDA?" I'm like, no. He's like, "Oh, okay. You're going to want to read and most likely have a discussion about it." I'm like, all right.
Yeah. And so,
So-
I'm trying to get the date that this article came out, but
I think it was like
Usually it's at the
early
top.
last week, I think.
March 8th, this article was released. Where the article
5
in
days
reference
ago.
is on Half Wheel. It's 16 thoughts. FDA proposes regulating cigar factories and other tobacco manufacturing facilities. So there's a lot of jargon that I think I may not fully understand, being that it's, an FDA proposal. But the broad overview from what I see is the FDA wants to propose basically regulations at factories
Yeah.
to know what is being done at the factory with the creation of the product, the shipping of the product, the cleanliness of the facility, et cetera. Sort of like we have at factories for animals and
Correct.
cans and
But just real quick,
anything that's
FDA
involving
stands
food.
for
Food and Drug Administration.
okay, food and drug. Okay, just making sure.
Yep, it's not under ATF, which you would think it would be. So that's kind of the broad overview of what I've seen. They want to know every step that's going on in the factory. And this does apply to factories outside of the United States. So essentially, if you ship cigars to the United States, you would be regulated by this proposed FDA plan. And it goes on to, it's quite a lengthy article. So good on them for
Yeah, very lengthy.
writing it. But it doesn't, nothing's happening today. These rules have 180 days for anyone to add or submit comments, feedback, etc., before it goes to being voted on. So essentially, nothing would most likely occur until 2025, they go on to say. You can leave a comment up until September 6th. They also have the option of extending that comment period so you can give feedback, and you best believe there's going to be a lot of, lobbying on behalf of manufacturers to say,
Yeah.
hey, we're different. This is not something that you can just regulate and have these proposes that you get to come in and checklist. It's not the same as packing tomatoes at a factory or something like that. I kind of get it in the sense of you want to protect the consumer, and so therefore, and I'm thinking this just strictly as food, you want to know what goes into the product to ensure that it's, you're following health and safety guidelines. But it's crazy to me that it can be that they're trying to say, someone outside of the United States would have to adhere to these practices. I get it if you're in Miami and you're a small factory, like you're in the U.S., that makes sense. It's crazy to me that I think, someone in the Dominican Republic like Ostos would have to regulate based off these rules. And is that a slippery slope? Maybe these rules already exist for manufacturing plants outside of the United States. I don't know that off for sure, but that part's the craziest to me, is that all would be subject to it.
I guess my first question is, why now? Right? Why now? What happened?
Yeah.
Someone find a hair in their cigar? I mean, like, that was the thing I gave. I was like, I told Hostess, I was like, your ass is going to be wearing hairnets sooner or later. And he started laughing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, why now?
You're not far off.
This is, I mean, that's in the, proposal of meeting all, sanitation requirements or whatever, of which, hairnets is included. And I'm just like, I mean, golly, come on. Cigars have been around for how many years at this point?
Of years. Yes.
And they've been selling in
Hundreds.
brick and mortars for how many years at this point? Let them do what they're best at. Why are we trying to throw a wrench in this thing of, okay, you got to go wash your hands 10 times a day? I don't even wash my hands 10 times a month. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the most sanitary guy, and I probably shouldn't say that, but I don't know. It's just like it's just making their job harder, and I think that's I'm not speaking on behalf of him by any means, but it's just like it's tougher. I mean, it's new crap every single week. It seems like that we're having to pivot around or figure a way around or figure a way to make it work, and now this stuff. So,
and a lot of the fight against the FDA over the last, since I remember started smoking cigars or got into cigars in 2016. I remember it was around that time that you couldn't give away free cigars at events. It was, the FDA said, nope, no longer able to do it. And I remember the grumblings and learning at that point just how much the FDA really wanted to regulate the premium cigar industry. And that's the key word that we'll use there, is premium cigar industry. And that's what a lot of the fight has been over the last several years, is to distinguish premium handmade cigars from machine-made, flavored, infused cigars, which the FDA tries to say that those are geared towards kids or could be. And that's where the big distinguishing factor comes in from something like we're smoking here. This is a premium cigar. No kid spending 15 or whatever the MSRP on this cigar is. No kid is spending that. And so that's where that kind of big fight that the cigar industry's had, is to distinguish ourselves as premium. And that is here as well. There is, I was just reading it. Give me a second. We are trying to distinguish here as well, saying, hey, if you're a premium cigar maker and that's your sole responsibility, you don't do, infusion or vape or anything like that, then you should be exempt from these regulations. So it's essentially the continued fight that we've had over the last several years. The same argument to be made here with this new proposal.
Yeah. I don't know. That's my first question, is why now? The second is just like, don't we have bigger fish to fry?
Yeah.
I mean, hell, there's so many restaurants in my neighborhood that are not up to code.
You walk in, there's a 70 on it. You're like, whoa, I'm rolling the dice on this one.
I mean, how about we tighten up our neighborhoods and our, fast food joints in our own communities before we just start laying down some law that doesn't, in my opinion, need to be laid down. But
yeah,
Are we going to go in the article and just hit a couple high points? And
Yeah, I've got. There's in the
Cool.
article, he's got 16 proposed thoughts.
this cigar is phenomenal, by the way.
This cigar is absolutely amazing. So a brief overview or highlight of what is part of this proposed rule. Factories would need to create plans of how they operate and manufacture products and then follow said plans. There is a 296-page document that has a menu of a la carte options that are proposed in this. It doesn't say that you need to have all of these, but if you do adhere to some of them, then you need to adhere to it. So if a rule were to get included, it doesn't mean the factory needs to adhere to it. Someone said, or they went on to give an example of the way e-cigarette liquid is produced differs from how a cigar is bunched. Therefore, the FDA's approach seems to be if you are engaging in this type of process, you do need to create a plan for the action. They went on to say that the cigar or the e-cigarette juice has to be, they check the pH of it. And so they would need to adhere to that, but a premium cigar manufacturer wouldn't because they don't test for the pH in a wrapper or anything like that. And it seems to be, just like it has been before, that they are just broadly lumping in premium cigars because they can,
Apples
even
and
though
oranges.
it's completely, exactly.
We don't have a lithium ion that's going to blow, battery that's going to blow up in our face and deform me for the rest of my life. I mean, come on. There's no cartridges here. It's zero error for physical harm currently,
and it's all natural product. I mean, at least in a non-infused or non-flavored cigar.
Correct.
It's tobacco and sugar for putting the band on, pectin. They go on to say the master manufacturing record is the FDA wants manufacturers to create procedures and records of how its facility operates. So things like who's in charge of quality control and how quality control is done, to how a company vets and measures the performance of its suppliers, how the facility is cleaned. And they want to then be able to come in like a health inspector at a restaurant and inspect that list and making sure that they're adhering to it. Once again, I just don't get how you have. Go ahead.
Maybe there's not, but I would think factories have processes in place for quality control and metrics in place for, number of cigars rolled, et cetera, et cetera. I mean,
absolutely. I mean, they're a successful business. They know what,
This isn't.
I'm going to relate it to the restaurant industry. You're not just going to go buy a tomato from some dude selling out of the back of his car because it puts your whole business in jeopardy.
Right.
Same thing goes, they know where they're getting their tobacco from. These are farms that have been around for decades and have known, you're not just going buying a tobacco bundle from some dude on the side of the street.
Yeah.
It's not happening. To your point, though, these things are in place. However, I would be shocked if a lot of them have it written down. And I think that tends to be where
sure
it would be a real pain in the ass for a lot of these factories to go through the process of detailing every single thing. And then what happens, you then have to amend it every time that you make a factory change or you make some, new thing. You've got to go in, and what happens if you hadn't get it, approved yet or whatever, and the FDA comes in and then now you're fucked because you're doing it the old way when you found a better way, just waiting for it seems like a nightmare for not only the FDA, but also these factories and facilities that are, does it go all the way to the damn tobacco farmer? Like, at what point does it stop?
It has to. Otherwise, it's makes no sense.
Are you going to tell me that the factory or the farmer that I'm buying my tobacco from is not trustworthy or reputable? Are you the one is the FDA putting that stamp of a seal on there, or is it all just a pony show just to get their fingers into more of
it's not broken.
Regulatory?
It's not broken. what's the saying? If it's not broken, don't fix it, or whatever like that.
Yep.
Something like that.
If it ain't fixed, don't broke it. And what I was,
That's
and I
not
haven't
it.
seen it. Wait, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You said if it ain't fixed, don't break it, or something.
Yeah, it's just
Or no,
something
you
like
said
that.
something the opposite. I don't know. Yeah.
What I was hoping to see and what I don't see in this article, and maybe it's out there, is like you were saying, why now? Is there something that was discovered in the process at a factory or facility that would cause this proposal to make it this far? And I don't see, if they were like, oh, we inspected a factory and found, they were using goat manure to ferment the tobacco pelons and, we're
Give me more of
putting
that.
toenail clippings in it or something.
I want it.
If it's a good cigar, give me it.
I want it. I just who's the bastard that came forward? Because at the end of the day, this doesn't affect me. This doesn't affect you, but it affects the industry as a whole. It affects the manufacturers. It affects the factories. And I personally don't think that they should have to worry about that shit.
Well, especially
I'm trying to make their life easier.
Absolutely. What could happen is if this goes through, now that we're seeing a European and Asian market boom for non-Cuban cigars, they could just go,
Prices
fuck
could
it,
go up.
we're not going to ship in the U.S. And then they don't have to follow these guidelines, and they
Or
now
that.
have the largest market in the world. And, we're not the largest market for
No.
premium cigars. It's other countries, it's the European market, it's the Asian market. So, it's certainly something that could come back and bite
you
us in the
imagine?
butt. Oh, God, it'd be terrible.
I guess I'd just. I mean, I would
I
live,
don't know.
obviously, but. God, I'd just start stockpiling shit, I guess.
Yep.
I mean, God, I probably have enough cigars to last me the rest of my life anyway, but
I was
Would be
thinking the
weird.
same thing the other day. It would be terrible not getting the latest releases and being able to
Yeah.
just the joy of walking into a humidor or a brick and mortar store. So a couple of the other examples that the FDA is proposing, just to really get you riled up. We talked about the organizational charts, worker cleanliness, to create standards for cleanliness, personal practice, and apparel of employees, I assume at the factory level. This, they say, could range from using gloves to banning jewelry or headphones while working, hand washing procedures like you mentioned. They have to have building cleanliness and maintenance, required to have regular cleaning protocols. I mean, once again, these are all things that exist at the factory level. No factory is letting their workers run around, in their underwear with bling hanging off everywhere. Like, it just doesn't happen because, once again, these are
Yeah.
successful companies
right.
that have a standard practice and expectancy out of their consumers to deliver on, and you don't deliver on that consistency without having these things in place. It's just legal paperwork to bunch people up, at least from what it seems. Manufacturing standards, like these are all things that are in place. Handling complaints and errors. Factories would be required to have a procedure for dealing with any breaches of protocol in the process or even consumer complaints about the products not meeting product standards. It's crazy.
Talk about being an unliked person. You're the guy going from factory to factory, showing up at these places and just getting the death stare.
Oh God. I mean,
No thanks.
if you've worked in the restaurant, a restaurant or the food industry, the dreaded health inspector is coming
Sure.
days.
Expected.
If you're lucky enough to know that they're coming. Sometimes they show up unannounced, but it's pure chaos. And it's never, anytime you see anything at 100, that is a damn good establishment
Yeah.
because of how difficult it is to get 100 on your
Yeah.
Board of Health inspection.
Yeah.
No one likes them though.
No, it's just like no one likes auditors. And my wife goes in there and they put her in a closet.
Exactly.
I mean, literally. But
I'm trying to
I just feel
see-
bad for the poor bastard that has to go around and dock these factories. They're not going to be taking you out to lunch and
Nope.
giving you the concierge service.
So I'm going further, just going towards the end of the article here. Cigars. For example, the FDA expects cigar factories will be able to explain how much filler goes inside of a Churchill. So, I mean, they're wanting down to the entire, I guess, recipe of a cigar, which I think, I mean, based off how that reads to me, you would no longer be able to say this cigar's filler or wrapper is undisclosed. Yep.
Yeah, which I won't complain about.
No, but those exist in the first place because of the FDA and
True.
the difficulty. I mean, there was a period of maybe a year or two, I want to say like 2017, 2018, where people just weren't coming out with new releases. There was a very, at least from how memory serves, there was a very finite amount of limited edition single run cigars. And the only reason that they were coming out is because they had been manufactured before this regulation came in at the time. And maybe I'm misremembering it. But I remember there was literally a concern of, we're not coming up with these limited editions anymore because it's too much hoop or too many hoops to jump through because of the FDA.
Interesting. I can't speak on that behalf, but I don't know. Part of me is like, obviously I'm not going to get riled up whichever way this goes, but we're talking 2025. Sure. We're also talking all proposals. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's an all or nothing or cherry picking out of the 16 topics. I don't know what all that looks like, but it could also be as minor as, we just want to put some general hand washing, hand hygiene in place and keep it very low level, just basic procedures here. We're not asking to renovate factories. We're not asking to, do all these different types of tests, this, that, and the other. It's just basic FDA hygiene, if you will.
The issue,
I know some factories practice that very, very well and wear hairnets and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Obviously, some are smaller and don't. But there's definitely some inconsistencies there.
Absolutely. And the issue is, to get, let's say, this passed as it is, that cost is completely to get into these regulations and to meet the standards. That cost is completely on the factory. Yeah. And not every factory is going to be able to afford it. The article does go on to say, this is going to be something that impacts a lot of small factories because, they don't have the capital to be able to. You got one?
Yeah.
Hopefully it's on camera. To be able to afford, these proposed, to be able to meet the regulations here.
In the interim, while you're pulling up any final information,
there's this damn big article.
Vlad has this cigar. I think there's still some available on Atlantic. If you just go to Atlantic Cigar and type in SOM, SOM,
2 M's,
SOMM. I don't know if there's 5-packs or if it's just boxes, but this cigar has a funk to it, but not funky. Yeah,
no, it's very subtle. Like
you can tell that the tobaccos used have. It's very cool when you open the box. It has the age of every single ingredient, wrapper, binder, filler, and you can easily tell adding all those up. It's got this funkiness, but I don't want to use funkiness in the same context as like Reserva 710 because it's night and day difference. Not that whatsoever. It's just you can tell it's got some age on it.
I love the presentation of giving to the point that we were just talking about undisclosed. I mean, exactly each tobacco, how long it's been aged for. I love anything out of KBF. I think they have some amazing tobacco to work with. And I think Vlad put together a wonderful, wonderful release here.
This does not feel or look like a 50.
Mm-mm. It feels like a 48.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the size is great. I swear to God, it's not a 50, but according to the box, it is. But
let's get the old measurement out.
It's a 10-count box. I would recommend picking up one.
Agreed.
Man, this being your first cigar, he really. I know he's got some stuff in the works for down the line.
Yep.
I'm really excited to continue to see what he creates.
No, I agree. It's great to see his success. We've known about this cigar for a little while now, and to be able to finally see its release, I've seen him repost a ton of photos on Instagram, and people enjoying the cigar are excited to get their hands on it. So that's always really, really fun and exciting to see.
Yeah.
But from what I think will happen with this is nothing.
Yeah. I'm kind
I
of
don't think anything's going to come of it. I'm hoping maybe that's a naive optimism, but I don't think anything will come of it. If anything does come of it or come out of it, I believe it will be the premium cigar industry will be exempt. It will just go after vape and e-cigarettes.
Yeah, regulate them, but pull them out of the mix, or pull us out, one or the other.
Correct.
We don't belong in the same place. It's like TP,
No,
the carpet color, blue and whatever it is. But yeah, let the premium cigar industry carry on with their lives, focus on putting out amazing cigars. It's not broken. Just leave it.
Yeah, and I think that's been the fight for us against the FDA for a while now. Is premium cigars are their own thing. We are not to be lumped in with e-cigarettes, vaping, flavored cigars. Drew Estate has premium flavored cigars, but they're still flavored infused. Like those are going to be different. We're not marketing. I think didn't someone just get sued the other day for saying they market it? Maybe I'm misremembering. But that was the issue with all the vapes and e-cigarettes, the flavored juices. They were like, well, your bubble gum is geared towards kids. It's like, no, adults like bubble gum too.
Yeah.
It's a broad generalization that doesn't really cover anything to be correct.
Yeah. Agree. Well, luckily we've got a killer, amazing cigar to smoke for this semi-painful article. But I agree with your point. I think, I don't know if it was a slow news day or what, but I just we've got bigger issues to figure out and to fry, and unless someone came forward with some crazy evidence that started all of this,
all these factories are doing this, and
that every factory is doing this wrong, and
they're not.
I don't know. Yeah.
So if you do want to, I don't know when the ability to add comments to the proposal is open. I'd
like to read the comments.
Yeah. Usually they're just a bunch of bot spams.
Yeah.
But stay tuned. I would say probably be on the lookout for Half Wheel. I imagine they will post an update to the article when you can leave comments on the proposal. Once again, it's 180 days, and I think it closes. I think I said September 5th, around that time frame, before it would then go on to be voted. So,
are you talking about leaving comments like on the FDA's side?
Yes.
Oh,
Yep. Not on the Half Wheel article. Like this is
okay.
All the comments get submitted to the FDA before when they have a waiting period for a proposal. You can leave comments and feedback. To
cool.
it.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Wonder if there are any comments. Are there any comments on the Half Wheel article now?
Let's get a pulse. What could go possibly wrong with the most inept political regime on earth, using its lackluster bureaucrats to politicize and control an entire market? Well, he's not happy about it.
Fair enough.
I wonder how stringent the regulation is in the THC space. Does the federal government have the same health concerns for the manufacturing of these products that remain illegal federally?
Again, not related.
Not a thought or process I would have taken with it, but here's someone saying the FDA needs to stay in their own lane and quit trying to regulate the American people.
I think we're on the same page.
It seems to be. Those who torment us for our own good will torment us without end, for they do so with the approval of their own conscience. Jesus, that was a deep one. Yeah. So it seems like everyone that's commenting on this is in our
I don't
agreement.
foresee any comments. Thank God, I've been waiting for this for 50 years.
Half these cigars I smoke have toenail clippings in it, and finally I won't have toenail clippings in my cigar.
I mean, if that ever happened, I would That would be amazing. It'd be disgusting,
I've
but
heard
be like, oh, this is badass. Like,
I got a toenail. I'm smoking it. I've heard horror stories of fake Cuban cigars having quality. Like I should probably cut some open and see if I find anything. I've heard of like nails in there and just weird shit, but usually it's just short filler and floor scrapes. But I have seen, and whether they're not, they could be completely lying. There's no way to validate it, but you're buying a fake Cuban cigar, whether you know it or not. That's not,
right.
That doesn't have a reflection on the industry as a whole. I don't think I've ever heard of a premium cigar having something like a nail in it.
No.
It just doesn't happen because these people know what a cigar feels like. If there's a nail in it,
and
you're going to feel that the weight is off.
And they're proud of what they make. Mm-hmm. It's there in theory. It's there. And some like this is really cool. I was listening to Vlad's. He did a live with Sir Louis Cigars, I think, and the name of the final inspector is on the back of each box.
Oh no shit!
Which is really cool. So they're all maybe there's 5 different names, but these people are proud to inspect the final product, to roll the final product, to sort the product, to harvest the. It's a sense of pride. No one's gonna. Oh, I'm gonna F this person with
exactly.
Kill them. Like, good God.
Yeah,
they don't want inconsistency issues because guess what? That comes back to them.
And
they don't want to be known for construction
livelihood.
problems or this, that, and the other. I mean, come on. This is not rocket science, people.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's like I said, I'm not going to lose sleep over this simply because I don't foresee it coming to pass in any form or fashion that it's currently stated as. Now, granted, if I'm a manufacturer, I have a facility, I'm sweating because it's your livelihood.
It's just a bitch of
it's a fight.
Paperwork and
exactly.
And I mean, God, how long is that process going to even start to get going? Years.
Yeah. I mean, let's say this does pass in 2025. There's no way you can expect a factory to immediately, begin to execute on every single thing.
Have like
so
an
then it's another 3, 4, 5. Yeah, exactly.
And
then it gets appealed.
Inspections wouldn't be for another 24 months. I mean, hell.
Yeah.
I might be dead by the time this happens, right?
It very could be, especially if you're smoking toenail clippings.
Yeah.
And not washing your hands, Griff.
Yeah, I need to work on that. It's an interesting article. I mean, we want to discuss it, have a conversation about it. Curious to hear viewers' thoughts and feedback about it. I think y'all will probably be on the same page with this. This isn't like a Padron sucks type of rant. But I think...
Yeah, I would love to read if someone felt... Please, by all means, if you feel that this is going to be something that's good, I'd love to know your thoughts on it and potentially what you feel will be the benefit of some of these proposed changes that the FDA has put. Always open to have my perspective shifted, but as it states now and as this article reads, I don't see anything in this.
There's probably an argument of having these people wash. I don't want to say these people. It sounds having people wash their hands more would be a good thing. Yeah, no doubt. But this isn't like you're going to the grocery store and you purchased expired chicken because they forgot to pull it off the shelf and then you get sick.
Exactly.
This is a little bit different.
Yeah. Spot on. I got that. That's it. I got nothing on that one. You nailed it with that.
I don't know. This cigar, guys, Atlantic Cigars has them. I think
Small Batch may have them still too.
Vlad Stojanov is the mastermind behind it. He was gracious enough to send us a couple boxes, and it's fantastic. I'm very, very, very impressed.
I had high expectations, and it met them. He did a
and
wonderful job.
I actually regret not smoking this the other day with coffee because I think it'd be great in the morning. I was a little worried it might be too full bodied, but straight medium.
Not at all. Straight medium. I'm about. We're both over halfway through this cigar.
Yeah.
I believe this blend is the Bordeaux blend. Let me see.
The what?
I think it's the Bordeaux blend. I think it's BDX.
I can't remember what he has coming out, but there's another one that it's a different Vitola, and they're placed in the box.
Yes,
differently.
So this is the BDX, yes.
BDX.
And draws inspiration from the famous French region of Bordeaux. They have this is a purple box. They have the green box, which is the Premier Cru,
That's what
which
I'm thinking
has.
of. That's an expensive one.
That is those are the $30 bad boys, 6x49s, and it looks to be completely different tobacco.
Did you say 49?
6x49 for the.
Never had
Premier
a 49.
You're right. I haven't either.
Whoa, that's interesting.
Oh shit.
I didn't even know that was a thing. Could be a typo on. But
It could be.
but it also
very
could be
much
a,
so.
It's not been done, so let's do it.
But the wrapper, fuck it. We're gonna say it. 1997 Dominican Harvest binder, 2007 Dominican Harvest.
Yeah, I
holy
expect
hell,
nothing less.
that sound, yeah. And I love they're calling it. He calls it Harvest because it's just that
Yeah,
inspiration to wine, which obviously makes sense, being sommelier and Vlad being a certified somm as well. But it's just one of those things that builds the brand and adds to it when you're able to execute from top to bottom on little things like calling it Harvest.
yeah. This is very good. Mm-hmm. Very, very good. Well, that was a good article. I'm glad we
That was great.
had a discussion around it.
I've got question of the show. Griff, this comes from Lily B's Hive. What do you look for when you walk into a retail humidor?
Lily's Beehive?
Lily
I like it.
Lily B's Hive.
What do you look for when you're walking into a humidor, you said? Or a brick and mortar?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
I don't honestly have I don't want to say, I don't have like a checklist that the brick and mortar has to meet. I mean, obviously if I walk in and I get hit with a blast of just bad air, it's like, okay, this is probably not going to be a great experience because of the purification, if that's even a word, system is probably not super great. So if I walk in, it's clean and just breathable, I'm like, okay, this is nice. Nice chairs, leather primarily, just so it doesn't stick to your clothing when you sit on it, and that also helps with the overall smell. On the humidor specifically, if they have maybe 5 of my go-to brands, that's awesome. It's very, very unlikely that's the case. They'll have all their go-tos, and if they have maybe a super small brand, I'm like, okay, that's cool because they're staying up with just new releases that are coming out or new brands that are in the industry. So I don't really have a checklist per se, but clean, easy to breathe, and air gets sucked out pretty easily.
Yeah,
an overall decent collection. I don't get too caught up with the prices. I mean, I'm there, so it's a convenience thing at that point. But if it's between $2 and $5 over MSRP, that's completely fine. I don't think I've been anywhere else that's been over that personally.
Yeah, and if it is over it, it's for select premium, ultra premium brands that they can get away with 10 extra bucks on a Padron or something like that. Because when I walk into a humidor, I'll look for familiar brands that I know the MSRP.
Yeah.
And judge it based off of that. Like if I walk in and a Sereno's $20, I'm walking out. I don't care if I'm there and I need a cigar. But yeah, I just look for a good selection of familiar brands that to your point, that you can just grab a stick that is going to be great. And then I'll look for something different, whether it's a brand that I've never seen before or, there's cigars on the top of my head that I constantly am looking for because I'm like, oh, that sounds really good. But there's something that I have, and this applies to bourbon as well. Like I don't like buying a single cigar off the internet, or I don't like buying as much spirits on. There's something about going into the retail location to get a cigar that I've been looking for, as opposed to just going on Atlantic and buying a single. Like I'll do it, or I have done it, but it doesn't have the same appeal to me. I like maybe a little bit of that hunt still.
I will also always ask what's new, not in terms of like how are you or what's going on. Like what's exciting? What do you have new? Because that'll also tell me like we're staying on top of current events or current releases or limited drops, et cetera, et cetera. Like last time I walked into Cameroon, what's new? Foundation, the one I can't say, Cigar, I'll just call it.
Yeah.
Which I think maybe it is called Cigar. And then they had my father, I don't want to say 40th, because I don't know if it is 40th. Is it 40th? It's the coffin. It's either the 10th or the 40th, but I don't think it's the 10th.
I don't know if I know
so
what
those
you're
were
talking
two brand new releases that they just got in, and so I always do that because that's also like something I probably haven't smoked, most likely.
Yeah.
And I'll always usually smoke something that I maybe don't have a couple of or haven't had or can't get.
Yeah, if I'm going in, I want to get, if I'm just going in to buy one cigar, sit down, smoke for an hour, I'm not on like vacation or anything like that. I'm going to buy something that I've never smoked before.
Yeah.
Or I haven't smoked in a long time because I want to just, experience something new, try something new. It's a great way to get in, discover new brands, new lines from familiar brands. So, and I like you called out the cleanliness. That's not one that I would have thought of, but it's definitely something that if I'm walking into a place and it's disgusting, I'm probably
because then you
not
get a
coming back.
headache and
and if you're like you said, if the recirculated humidor is just skank air and it smells like mold, that's on the cigars, and I don't want that either.
Yeah, I'd prefer not to sit in misery and just have smoke hovering over yourself.
Well, great question, Lily Bees Hive. Let's wrap this up with a giveaway. Comments below, like, subscribe, ring that bell so you get notifications when new content goes up. We're dropping a ton of great videos, ton of great podcasts for you all this year. But let us know in the comments below your thoughts on this FDA article. Are you worried for our factories? Are you excited for this? I kind of want to know if anyone is. Don't make it up. If you actually are excited, I do want to know. We will select a winner, and I'm going to send you a 5-pack of one of the cigars off our vault. We'll send out one of our 2021 customs. We've got some great blends. If you weren't part of the Cigar Club family customs at that time, now's a great time to be able to try those blends that we shipped out a few years ago. Any parting wisdom for the Cigar Club family, Griff? No wisdom. You're just content with the jumping coys.
Phenomenal cigar. Atlantic.com. I actually don't know the website is. AtlanticCigars.com maybe.
Something like that.
A+ in my book, and that's it for me.
You couldn't have said it any better myself. Vlad, thank you again for these cigars. This is exciting. These are fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to what you've got coming out the rest of the year. But until next time, everyone, happy smoking.
Peace.